And we're live with Ricardo Fitzpatrick. Welcome back, dude. It's awesome to have you on.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Ricardo, not only a South African para powerlifting legend, but I would say a powerlifting legend in South Africa, because you've been doing this for a long time and you compete in both para and non-para powerlifting.
Yes. Yeah, in fact, I think my first competition was a para powerlifting competition. That
Right.
was in
1842.
the
No,
year 2000.
sorry. So, on a
Yes,
serious note,
yes,
sorry,
yes.
when was that?
That was in the year 2000. Yes.
Okay, sure. Phenomenal, dude.
Yeah, it was in Pretoria. Yes.
That's very, very cool. So we've had the honor to chat to you before on the podcast about your lifting
Yes,
and your
yes,
career. And then you reached out
yes.
because you said there's a very special story that you would like to share about a powerlifting teammate and who has sadly, unfortunately, passed. And you just wanted to share a little bit
Yes.
about your teammate. So I think let's
Yes.
start off with this, and then we'll chat about those memories and wonderful stories. So please go ahead, Ricardo. The floor is yours.
Yes. Yes, thanks. Yeah, I would just like to give my condolences to the Grobelaar family, and they look not just to the family but to the whole Paralympic movement.
Mm-hmm.
Mookie wasn't just a powerlifting legend, but she was, she was the driving force for the Paralympic movement in South Africa as well as global. Mookie was well known, not
Mm-hmm.
just here, but whenever we travel, everyone knew her. And yeah, she was a legend. She attended the same school that I attended, Elizabeth Conradi School for the physically disabled. And yeah, she excelled in other sports also, not just in powerlifting, but in table tennis. She did track and field events, and yeah, all those kinds of sporting codes. Yes,
Sure.
yeah,
Uh,
but where I met her in person was in 2000 when we were in Pretoria, and then I did my first competition there.
mhm.
That's where I first met her.
Okay, awesome. And then did it come up that you guys were at the same school? What was that first meeting like for you?
Look, I we heard about her when she won the bronze medal in Sydney. That was at the Sydney Paralympics. That was in the year
2000.
2000.
Right. That's
Yes.
that's when Coach
Yeah,
Rodney
so
Anthony
she won.
ate all the steak in Australia.
Yes, they were together that time.
Yeah.
So he was her coach, and she was the only Paralympic powerlifter in the SA team back then. Yes,
Right.
and yeah, so yeah, it was a very exciting competition that time. As I clearly remember that Rodney was with her, and there were seven lifters, and all of them were ahead of Mookie. And all these seven lifters just bombed out. And what happened is Rodney fell back, on his chair
Mm.
because it meant that she just won the bronze medal.
Oh wow, wow, wow! That's phenomenal. And I think that's also.
Yeah,
By the way,
yeah.
we've got a comment here from another South African powerlifting legend, Marlon Daniels. How's it, Kimberley's finest? There you go. Huh? You're gonna say for you and Tommy.
Thank you,
You
Molly.
yeah,
Thank
you
you.
you you.
That's my brother. That's my brother, Marlon. That's my brother.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
Marlon also training with Rodney Anthony as well. So Sure.
Yes, yes.
So, Marlon, great to have you on the show. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the comments. No, he's an absolute legend as well. We're going to say that for you and Tommy, you're battling constantly for King of the Northern Cape powerlifting.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So you was telling us
Yeah,
the story about her competition bombing out, but what I wanted just for the listeners and viewers who perhaps don't really know too much about the sport of powerlifting, just because your competition bomb doesn't mean that you're going to win. You and your coach have to get everything right on each of your attempts to make sure that you're in there, you're not
no,
opening to heavy, you're not allowing the travel, the fatigue, the food, the sleep,
that's the
all of
thing.
these factors.
Yeah, no, no, definitely. I mean, you can only do what your body can allow you to do within powerlifting, and sometimes whenever you compete, it also can come down to a stroke of luck.
Mm-hmm.
So it means that your competition is chasing, the bigger weights, and then things don't work out for them. But because you are working with what you are capable of,
Mm-hmm.
um, it usually works in your favor. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's not necessarily chasing the medals, but sometimes it can work out in your favor also. Yeah, that reminds me when we were in Nigeria. That was in 2003
Right.
for the All Africa Games. Yes. So Muki was also involved getting the team together that time. We she wasn't with us back then with the team, but she was a mentor to Sascock. So she assembled all the team members to go to Africa champs.
Mm-hmm.
So me and the late Eugene Popov were in that team. We were quite a big team, and this thing that you're talking about, sometimes it works out with luck.
Yes.
Um, Whenever your competition is chasing, that's precisely the same thing that happened to me in Nigeria when the Paralympic champion in my weight category, he's from Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
He bombed out
Sure.
at his competition, and that moved me up to bronze position. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So this is precisely what we were talking about now.
It's you can never ever count yourself out of a competition, and you can also never ever guarantee yourself a medal.
Oh, that most definitely. No, it
Yeah,
works like that. Yeah, you
100%. So,
never.
what
Yeah.
for you? What was so special about Mookie? What was it that stood out for you?
Yo, Mookie was really a person. Uh, she was there for the people. And as of lately, she didn't compete actively within the sport,
Mhm.
but she was the one who still carried the sport through her administration and through her guidance and through all of her dedication. So yeah, so she was the voice of the people who couldn't speak,
Mhm.
and yeah, she just um, was just there to make sure that Team South Africa was a force to be reckoned with on the Paralympic stage.
Sure. And I love what you said when you said she was the voice for those who couldn't speak. And I think just it's
Yes,
so
yes,
important, and I'm very grateful to have you on again that we can chat because we've spoken to many able-bodied non-paralifters about the sport and what it means to them and how it's been life-changing for them. But I'd love to get your input and perhaps with a reference to Mookie, what the para powerlifting means to those athletes who are able to compete. to those athletes who are able to start lifting weight and look at the opportunity of potentially one day representing their country, even at Olympic level?
Yes, I think that if we can with the para powerlifting, it's not as big as it should be.
Mm,
There were times when para powerlifting was at its strongest, and that was from 2002 up until 2016.
right.
So there was quite a big following. I think that the finances was also in a good state back then. So we didn't stress about anything about attending competitions. Um, so what happened is we had the opportunity of going to Paralympic qualifiers.
Mm,
That was, and we didn't go out for to fund ourselves,
yes.
but corporate and investment was in the sport back then, and I think that because of her guidance and because she was still active within the sport, that gave the sport more confidence and
Hmm.
the investors more confidence. So I remember that me and Mookie, we were together on numerous trips. I can remember we were off to Portugal, we were in Slovakia, we were in in South Korea, in
Sure.
Busan.
Right.
We were in Greece, yeah. Um, and then there was a number of competitions that all of us were involved in. Yeah,
Sure.
so I think that because of her achievements, she guided the youngsters with her
Mm,
to reach those levels. And I
right.
think with Athens, Athens 2004,
Hmm.
that was a big time. That was the biggest team that Team South Africa have sent for a para powerlifting team. There were about 6 members for that competition.
Right. Sure. Uh, what does it mean to what did it mean to you at school with the opportunity where you had someone from your school representing South Africa, winning medals at international level? What was the driving force and the motivation that you and your fellow students took from that?
Look, we back then, I didn't know about the Paralympics.
Hmm.
We just saw the Olympics and the weightlifting at the Olympics,
Hmm.
and then we were like thinking, we won't be able to have that opportunity to go to the Olympics because I mean there's able bodies,
Yes.
and we can't do those things that the able bodies are doing. But I mean, when I first saw the 2000 Sydney Olympics and Paralympics, actually the Paralympics, I was like astonished, and I mean, I didn't attend a disabled school back then,
Okay.
such as Elizabeth Body School.
Mm-mm.
Um, I was just my mother was told about the school, and then we went and then we checked out the school, and then that's when we saw all of the equipment and all the weights and all the things, and then I heard about Mookie back then, and then I didn't watch her competition when she competed, but there was a photo of her in our gym with a bronze medal over her neck, and I think that motivated me to go into powerlifting and para
Sure.
powerlifting and see if I would have that opportunity of going to the Paralympics.
Sure, that's amazing. Ricardo, what is the opportunity to compete for so many years, for multiple decades? and represent your country. What has that meant to you? How has that added to your quality of life and sort of your purpose?
Look, the thing is, I'm now at that stage. I'm at that age whereby I'm not chasing South African colors anymore.
Mm-mm.
I'm just doing the sport for the love of the game. And I think that it's more of a health and wellness journey for me than to just go into the gym and chase numbers and try to
Mm-mm.
qualify for competitions, because I mean you don't want to end up hurting yourself because you're so many um, kilograms away from getting your South African colors.
Yes.
So I just like to say to the youngsters out there is that um, you should always do what your body can allow you to do, and when your time comes to qualify for big competitions, your time will come, and then you shouldn't rush the process, and then you should just enjoy your workouts and try and stay fit, and yeah, the competitions will come, your medals will come
Yeah,
eventually with time.
absolutely. I love that. With the peak and the growth within para powerlifting, and then 2016 you said it started to decline and to drop off, where you
Yes.
effectively had everything that was needed in that time frame, I think 2002 to 2016. What is needed to bring para powerlifting for South Africa back to, should we say, that golden era, that golden age?
I think that we should have what do you call this, a corporate investment, big corporate
Hmm.
investments. Um, we should look at the possibility of hosting para powerlifting competitions within South Africa, not necessarily that we have to go abroad to compete, because I mean, if you have to go abroad to
Hmm.
compete, it's a very expensive uh, exercise.
You know, the
I mean,
cost
we're
of one
looking at
athlete going without a coach can pay for a whole competition locally.
that's the
Mm,
thing. It works out that way.
mm,
Now, you see, we in South Africa, we do have a lot of internationally accredited uh, judges.
mhm,
I mean, if there's a possibility whereby we can have the IPC training courses, and then they can equip themselves with the IPC accredited um, courses. We can have our own judges here. We can have our own what do you call this, jury here
mhm.
to officiate those competitions. So we can have all that competitions here and qualify for international competitions without us going abroad and spend millions of rands on athletes to compete.
So you're talking about having an international standard competition here as a way of qualifying the team for the Olympics, if I understand that correctly.
The
Right. Okay.
Paralympic, yes, we,
Okay.
we, 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 we can do it in that way.
So, what do you think is needed? Is it a particular individual like Mookie that you mentioned that's needed to step up and to drive this process? Is it that, because how do you get the corporates involved? How do you get that sponsorship involved in that setup? How do you make them aware of what's happening?
Look, we cannot just depend on one person who made
Mhm.
a difference. We have Paul of the conveners. I don't know if you know Anita. She is the Paralympic powerlifting convener,
Mhm.
and yeah, me and her, we are working very closely, and she's doing a absolutely amazing job by promoting para powerlifting in the country as
Phenomenal.
well as abroad. But I think it should be a team effort. It shouldn't just come down on one person.
Yes.
And then we should look at having a we should have partners involved, um, where they should where different entities should focus on different aspects, whereby you have one corporate focusing on competition logistics, then you have another corporate that will look at the development of the sport and the development of officials, you know, putting in money into that,
Mm.
whereby we can have enough officials to officiate para powerlifting competitions within South Africa.
So I think, and that's a great structured plan. Where is the starting point? How do you start to get this back? Because I'm going to assume we don't have a shortage of athletes that would be willing to represent South Africa and also as a sport. And I think this is vital for powerlifting. Olympic recognition and then access into the Olympics as an Olympic sport has been the powerlifting dream for a substantial amount of time. But in reality, we have powerlifting in the Olympics with the powerlifting, with the bench press, and you see some incredible numbers being lifted. I think Rodney was telling me about the Olympics in Sydney, where there was, I think it was a Thai lifter or a Vietnamese lifter who was 50 kilos and bench 200 kilos. These incredible numbers. 4 times body weight bench press, and it's such a wonderful
Yeah,
opportunity to
yeah, definitely.
to develop heroes and wonderful representatives for the communities that these athletes come back to. So from your side, how do we reignite the Olympic dream? What do you think the starting point would be? And I'm asking you as a very experienced lifter.
I think that para powerlifting should be broadcast on all levels, not just
Mm.
on YouTube, not just on social media platforms, but on national TV, um, so that many people that can have access into watching the sport. Um, I think that if we look on TV, it's mostly rugby, cricket,
Mm.
soccer, all these sporting codes, and I mean, people want to watch other sporting codes as well, not just those sporting codes.
Yep.
But I mean, to broaden out the broadcasting of the sport, and that will also um, make corporates aware that look, there's no other sports that I mean, there's not only just rugby, cricket, soccer.
Hmm.
There's powerlifting also. There's powerlifting also. Let's invest in those sports as well. Do you understand?
100%. But I think the question always that I think the corporate would ask is, what's the return for them? What's the return on investment? What do they get out of it? With the soccer, the cricket, and the rugby, because they're such established sports, there's a huge advertising and marketing opportunity for these corporates, where, as you said, television coverage is really such a valuable part to that. But if we're starting with YouTube, if we're starting with the smaller channels, from your experience and what you've seen within the para powerlifting community, what have the changes been in the athletes? What has the growth been in those people representing South Africa at Paralympic level?
Look, I'll be honest with you. If we look at the Paralympic movement within
Mm.
South Africa, not just in South Africa, but also globally, is that it is a very marginalized movement whereby corporates are not recognizing Paralympic athletes. Um, they would rather go for sports whereby they have this idea where athletes who are able to have a greater
Mm.
competition than Paralympic athletes, and that's not the case. As we just stated now, that para powerlifting, that the that the numbers of the bench presses it's far more higher than the able body
Yep.
guys. Do you understand? So I
100%.
mean, corporates cannot look in that way, whereby they have to say, yeah, just because you're disabled, um, we cannot give you a sponsorship because your competition is not as high as with rugby or cricket
Mm.
or soccer or other mainstream sporting codes. Um, Competition is competition, and the standards on Paralympic level is just as high as on an able-body level, and that is not that is the aspect that corporates have to look into.
So I think using yourself as an example and what the sport has given you, can you share a little bit about your experience with the sport, what it's meant to you, and also what has it meant to the community that you're in to have a multiple medal winner athlete on international level? I think, I don't want to say it, but I think it's nearly 3 decades, Ricardo, that you've been competing and representing South Africa. So what's that like for your community back home and for you walking the streets and so on?
Um, it it was a very it's very very bittersweet in the way that um, the victories are sweet, and you do have your um, you do have your your times when you were not at your best.
Mm.
So I think that for me to compete is to stay motivated, and I think that my disability, I just want to prove myself that even though I have a disability, I can compete on all levels.
Yes,
I have that
100%.
opportunity of against people with all their lumps. I have an opportunity of competing against people in wheelchairs. I have an opportunity to compete against people who are amputated.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so I think that for me to be part of the Paralympic movement, it it has broadened my experience and my expertise, not just here but globally as well. And
Right.
I've met a lot of people. I've met a lot of powerful individuals within the sport, and yeah, I'm just want to make people aware that regardless your disability, you can still do what you love to do, and you can still even though if you lost something and
Mm-hmm.
like a lump or something, you still have something to continue pursuing in.
Right. 100%. Well said, dude. If you were to look at, let's say we picked a competition to have a starting point, that we stream the competition, maybe we do that competition in Muki's merit. You can name the competition after the contribution that's been made by Muki, however you want to do that. Where do you feel are the most, or where should the competition be held within South Africa?
For me, it doesn't matter.
Mm.
I think that we should just have a very good setup of the competition of the stadium, and that it should be also disability friendly. It should also have all the accessibility, um, you know, for all people with disabilities, all types of
Yes,
disabilities, and not only this competition venue, but we have to look at
the
the hotel where
accommodation.
they have to stay. Their accommodation it must be disability friendly. The transport, yeah, transport very important. It should also accommodate persons with disabilities, but it is a very costly
Mm-hmm.
exercise. It can be very, very expensive, especially if you have to convert all these things for people with disabilities. Yes.
100%. In your experience, because I know you're also competing at provincial and at national level within within South Africa at the able-bodied competition where there is the division for the paralifter and not really sort of too many standalone para competitions. Are there enough? I mean, do you want to see more? And obviously, we've covered it. Standalone para competitions, or do you feel that it's something that should be integrated with the able-bodied athletes' provincial and national championships?
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Look, if we look at the disabled competitions, there is a multiple national games, which
Mm-hmm.
is the South African Sports for the Physically Disabled Games. That is happening every year around April, and that is the only opportunity this where para powerlifting is used. Um, but the one thing that I love about the South African Powerlifting Federation is that they do not discriminate
Mm-hmm.
against people with disability, and then that's what I like about Honey. Honey will always incorporate people with disabilities within his competitions. But I think that the South African Powerlifting Federation should look at other sport like swimming, athletics, because swimming and athletics are perfect examples of integration,
Mm.
whereby you have disabled athletes competing together with the able-bodied athletes. So they do have their own um, competition within their national champs, where both able-bodied and disabled are competing. And I think that if our national championships together with the able-bodied championships can assemble two benches, one bench for the able bodies and one bench for the disabled, or have have that possibility of inserting the disabled bench onto the able-bodied bench,
Mm.
and
Mm.
therefore have the disabled competing together with the able bodies, and then we can use then those qualifying standards can be used for disabled competitions abroad as well. So we can
Right.
look at it in that way.
So just a better integration together. And all that's really required is the
Yes,
equipment.
we can do it in that.
Oh,
The
fantastic.
equipment and the
The
and
access, the
the
hotel, the facilities.
like
Mm.
and everything like that. Yes.
Right. I think anyway, the competitions should be held at an access friendly facility. Do you even to allow, so people who are dealing with a disability to come through and support, whether that's supporting the paralifters or the able body lifters or both. So I think that's and
Yes.
we did a lot of touring of facilities in the Cape for World Masters previously, and it's fantastic to see the effort that's being put into the facilities from hotel access through to facility access. And as you said, the transport is really the big element in terms of moving the athletes around.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think,
Yeah, because I
mm,
mean,
go ahead. Sorry, Mark.
mm, no, no, because out of my experience of all the competitions that I've attended
Mm,
on a disability for Paralympic powerlifting qualifiers. Um, these countries have done phenomenally very good in terms
mm,
of
mm,
transporting their athletes and the buses. I mean, there's no problems. You can go in. You have enough space to go into the bus.
mm,
They got their lifts where they have the wheelchairs in. The person can get out of the bus within that lift, and then They
Hmm.
can move freely. Um, yeah, so I think that's the only problem that we do have within South Africa in terms of accessibility within venues. I don't think there's much of an issue on an able body
Mm.
uh, 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 platform, because I mean, if you remember with the Commonwealth and with the World Masters in
Sun
Sun
City.
City,
Yep.
there was, yes, there were a few disabled athletes also, and I mean they could have moved freely
Yes.
within the venue. So yeah, so in terms of that, the logistics at competitions is it's not really an issue, but in
But
terms
it
of
is vital.
transportation,
It is
that is
something
something
that
that
needs to be considered, right? You have to consider it.
yes, yes, most
Yeah.
definitely. Yes, yes,
Because also you don't want to, even just from a purely athlete coach point of view, you don't want to be putting the athlete under any unnecessary stress in terms of being able to move around.
that's the
Yeah,
thing.
100%.
Yes,
Sure.
yes, most definitely.
So, Ricardo, I think I'm very grateful for what you shared. I'm very grateful for the fact that you brought up the essential element of the venue and the access and the transport and the accommodation as well, because these are all things that need to be taken into account to give these athletes the opportunity. And I think, I know from what you share on Facebook and on social in terms of what you mean to your community back home and in Kimberley in the Northern Cape to South African powerlifting as well. Every as Marlon said, Kimberley's finest. You're a wonderful, wonderful representation of not just para powerlifting but
Thank you
of
very much.
powerlifting as well. And it's really an awesome
Yes,
opportunity to talk with you and also to hear your stories of Mookie and what meant to the sport and and to you as well. And the inspiration is so important, and the thought we just have to start wrapping up. But for me, what stuck with me on this conversation was when you saw or heard about her achieving that bronze medal, that started to maybe light a little bit of a fire in you. And I think that's really the job of athletes who are competing, is to light the fire for that next generation, that it's possible, that it
yes,
can be
most
achieved,
definitely.
and that it's something that can be worked towards. Because with sport, and I love the sport of ours, this beautiful, beautiful sport of powerlifting, that understanding of progression of, if I can't do it today, I can't lift 10 kilos today, I can lift 5. But if I work to it, if I stick to it, if I listen to my coach, if I look after my sleep, my nutrition, my hydration as best I can, I will get to those goals. And then we can carry those lessons through to other parts of our lives and really start to understand that there's no immediate gratification in life. If you want something, you have to work for it, but you can learn from
Yes,
powerlifting that working for it works.
most definitely, most
So,
definitely.
that's it. And really, dude, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
as
much,
well for
Nicholas.
coming on and talking
Always a
about
pleasure
Mookie.
speaking to you.
Sorry, go ahead.
I say it's always a pleasure speaking to you.
So, no, thanks, dude. And I hope we can, in some small way, help with this. I'd love to see a comp as well set up, and with the opportunity for the paralifters to show what they can do. And what I think would be really fun is to have a powerlifting power comp, but the able-bodied lifters can enter, but they got to use the bench. They've got to use the equipment, and I think that would be a wonderful, wonderful experience, and just I think it would be a lot of fun.
No, 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 no. Look. That would be very, very, very exciting to see, because I mean, um, you have to lay straight and
Yep,
you have to strap your leg.
and no leg
So
drive.
it's
Yeah,
typical upper body.
yeah, and the balancing with just
Yeah,
the
no,
upper
no,
body
no,
is incredible.
no, definitely. You should go back and go watch
Mm.
the Paralympic powerlifting. Um, Go and watch the where was the last Paralympics? It was in Paris.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Paris. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yes, so you must go and watch that. It's absolutely amazing
Sure.
what the Paralympic powerlifters are doing. But it's just so sad that sponsorships are not boosting all these world champions and all these
Mm-hmm.
Paralympic champions. Do you understand? So
I
I
do.
mean, I
Mm.
mean, if 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 you see how amazed able-bodied bodybuilders and powerlifters are, and they see someone who weighs 90 kgs and he does like a 280 kg bench press.
Yep.
I mean, it's in their wildest dreams.
Yep. You cannot comprehend it. I think you've made
You
such
cannot,
so
I
many
mean,
valid points. Yep.
yeah, and I mean, then you get rugby players who bench press just 140, but then he's got like millions and millions of rands. Do you
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
I do. And I think it comes down to a shift that's needed in terms of the corporate sponsorship, the potential sponsors understanding what their value is, what are they getting back. And where we see so much money in these sports because of the advertising opportunity and the advertising potential, because it's seen in front of so many people. But I think with this incredible sport, the job is to get the sport in front of as many people as possible. And then there's the
Definitely.
opportunity for the sponsorship to come. My sense, that's my experience. I think that once they can see the value, then they'll say that's when they can bring the
Mm,
funding, and then that starts to perpetuate. The funding brings in more amazing performance in front of more amazing people. The sponsorships, the advertisers get better exposure, and then there's more money and
most
so on.
definitely.
And that's the process really that has to start. So for me, I'm thinking that
Yeah.
not to step on any toes or in front of
No, you
any
mustn't.
existing processes, but I think we do need
Yes.
some sort of fun competition with a smaller sponsorship level, and then have that made accessible to the bigger corporates, and where
Yeah.
the athletes understand that they have the responsibility as brand ambassadors. So just as a rugby player is on an autograph tour, or a soccer player is on a signing tour, and these are the things that the athletes will understand, that they've got a responsibility and they've got this opportunity, because every
Yeah.
lift is a way of growing and marketing the sport.
Oh, definitely. Look, we should put this aside,
Mm,
that we should always do the sport for the love
yep.
and not necessarily to get attention or to get funding or to get money or anything like that. It always comes down to the love and the passion of the sport, and
So
that will make the sport grow, um,
absolutely.
and that will notice corporates, and they
Mm.
will eventually step up and give us that assistance in future.
So, but I think it's the love. My sense is it's the love and the passion that drives it, but
Yes.
also the understanding that every coach, every athlete is a representative of the sport, is a brand ambassador of the
No,
sport. And if we all take on that responsibility, then we will move much quicker towards the sponsorships that everybody needs, the exposure that's needed, and the growth of the sport, and the life changing benefits that it brings.
yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, before
Mm.
before you go, what
Yeah,
do
yeah.
you say about our world's strongest men? I mean, if you look at
Yeah, what
strongmen
do you
in
mean go?
South
Who says
Africa,
I'm going anywhere? Where are you saying I'm going? What are you talking about? Sorry. Yep.
yeah, the world's
Mm,
strongest men.
yep.
What do you say about that?
No, absolutely phenomenal.
Who
We
is
were
one
in
of them?
Durban for SA Strongest Man a couple of weeks, I think 2 weeks ago, or the week before last, or 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. Absolutely incredible to see the performance of these guys and the weights and what they're moving around, and then it puts it into perspective, the incredible work that Reno Nell has done. And it's absolutely
Yes,
unbelievable.
most definitely.
And South Africa
Yeah.
winning the under-20 Rugby World Cup, we really
Okay.
performing on these incredible levels. And I think if you look at Reno, what he's doing now with traveling overseas and getting as many competitions done under his belt and growing the exposure and the opportunity, we've actually got him booked on the podcast in the future, which we're really looking forward to, and to chat to him. And it's absolutely incredible. And it's really amazing. But even with that, with the world's strongest man, what is the level of support that's there in terms of growing and developing the sport? It's stuff that the athletes are realizing they have to step up and be their own brand
No, definitely.
ambassadors and marketing force to grow and drive the sport.
I think, yeah, but as you state now,
Mm.
I think that South Africa is excelling in all other sporting
So
fields,
much, dude.
not
So
just
much. Yeah.
so much. And I mean, corporates should
Mm.
they should broaden out now.
Yep.
They should look at other avenues also.
Well,
You
yeah, from
understand?
hockey to surfing to kiteboarding to all of these amazing sports, they really rock. We are
I mean,
absolutely rocking. Mm.
we even have world champions in dancing now. Do you know that?
Yeah, in dancing, in slap fighting, in MMA. I'm actually after you. I'm chatting with Bobby the Punisher at 8 o'clock.
Yes.
So unfortunately, that's why we just have to wrap
Okay.
up quickly, I'm afraid. But
Yeah, that's
with
fine.
slap fighting
But
growing in South
but nice
Africa,
speaking.
so it's going to be amazing. No,
Yes.
100%. But I think it is. It's just it's an opportunity to start to reach another audience and grow, get in on the ground level, as it were.
Okay, great stuff.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot,
no,
Nicholas. We'll talk again, my brother, and you're doing
100%.
a fantastic
So are you coming to Cape
job.
Town? Are you coming down to Cape Town for Masters?
Yeah, I will go in a support capacity,
Okay.
yes.
Cool, good. Well, we need you there. That's awesome. So we're looking forward to it. It's not that far, man. It's
Okay,
a trip down the road. There, Ricardo Fitzpatrick, South African
definitely.
Paralympian, para powerlifter legend, as really, a gentleman of note and a great ambassador for the sport. Thank you for your time, dude. Sorry that we do have to cut it
Yeah,
short.
man.
I just got to prep
No, that's
everything, get it
fine.
ready for the next
100%.
one. Dude, we'll chat to you again soon. Guys, you can reach
Definitely.
out to Ricardo
Yeah.
on Facebook if you want to get in touch with him, ask him any questions. If you are a corporate, you want to find out anything more, just reach out to Ricardo on Facebook as well. Dude, thank you for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We'll be back in a few minutes. Cheers, dude. Ciao. Bye.